In America during the early 1800s, wagons were the main methods of travel and trade. Because of this, distances that you could drive today in hours took weeks. It took 23 days to get from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh 300 miles away, even when the dirt roads were in good condition. In 1817, New York State began construction of a man-made waterway to carry people and goods much more quickly, the now famous Erie Canal. Pennsylvania, not to be outdone, made plans to build their own canal system. In February 1826, the state legislature authorized the canal to be created between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. There was a major difference between Pennsylvania and central New York, however: mountains. The Allegheny Mountains, the westernmost edge of the Appalachian Mountain Range, stand as a massive barrier between Pennsylvania's largest two cities. The first plan to overcome the mountain obstacle was to construct tunnels through the mountains, but this was too costly and unrealistic. It was then decided a railroad system of 10 inclined planes would be built, with 5 on each side of the mountains. The canal would lead cargo and passengers to either end of the mountains, where the boats were portaged onto train cars. At the head of each section of inclined plane were engine houses, which pulled and lowered the train cars up and down the mountainsides. The incline system was used because locomotives at the time did not have the power to pull the cars up the steep mountains. However, locomotives were used on the more level areas of the mountain. The Allegheny Portage Railroad opened March 18, 1834, and in total was 36 miles in length, connecting the ends of the canals at Hollidaysburg and Johnstown. The Portage Railroad system ran for a little over 20 years, from 1834 to 1857. On February 15, 1854, the Pennsylvania Railroad Company completed the Horseshoe Curve, which allowed for a continuous rail line from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. For over 100 years, the Allegheny Portage Railroad was abandoned and fell into disrepair. Most of the original structures and rail lines were dismantled and repurposed. Eventually, the history, design, and impact of this odd construction gained a place of honor. In 1964, a National Historic Site was created to protect 1,296 acres of Allegheny Portage Railroad. The National Park Service operates a visitor center with interpretive exhibits, as well as sections of the old railroad line, the Samuel Lemon House, a tavern that was a popular stop for railroad passengers, the length of reconstructed track and engine house at the highest point along the railroad, and a picnic area and hiking trails. Other remnants of this feat of engineering include a skew-arched bridge that the railroad ran under, and the Staple Bend Tunnel, a 900-foot-long stone tunnel built for the railroad, which has now been converted into a section of a bike trail. Allegheny Portage Railroad National Historic Site protects a fascinating and unique moment in American history that is easy to overlook. Sadly, this lack of awareness for an innovative moment in westward expansion only manages to bring in roughly 200,000 visitors a year.